Good evening, and welcome to Red's Classic Theater. If you watch television or movies or even commercials, especially those made in Vancouver, chances are you've seen the work produced at Behr Kinetic Arts in Richmond. Hi, everybody, I'm Red Robinson. The animatronic creations made by Behr have been featured in everything from the X-Files to Tales from the Crypt to an Alphabets commercial. And Adam will take us on a tour of his shop a little later on. Our movie this week is a murder mystery that touches on the supernatural. It's the 1988 thriller Lady in White, featuring Lucas Haas and Katherine Hellman. The film was a labor of love for director Frank LaLoggia. He was also the writer, co-producer, and musical composer. He also succeeded in making his independent production without studio backing. And we'll tell you how he did that later on. Now, Act One of Lady in White. This week on Red's Classic Theater, we're visiting Behr Kinetic Arts in Richmond. And with me is the owner, Behr. What goes on in this part of the shop here, Adam?
Well, over here, Red, we have some molds which are being prepared for the creation of some alien puppet legs for Stargate. And in the background, we have two of the animatronic technicians busy creating and maintaining some animatronic puppet devices for use in motion pictures.
And Adam, what goes on in this room?
Well, Red, this is a special ventilated chamber. We use fiberglass, urethanes, and various epoxies in there for the creation of molds, skins, and so on. And it's built so that the air is taken out every 1.5 minutes.
Adam, what's going on over here on this table?
Well, over here, Ed, we have Bruce and Jake, who are busy applying release agent onto this multi-piece mold so that the rubber skin can be created for an animatronic head.
More from Behr Kinetic Arts when Red's Classic Theater returns in a moment. Behr Kinetic Arts also creates creature suits and corporate mascots. As a matter of fact, the most famous being, I think, the Vancouver Grizzlies mascot. And this material is expensive, right, Adam?
It certainly is, Red. For example, we have over here the miniature Cousin It, which takes advantage of a traditional wig-making technique. And then we have 3 different kinds of the specialized stretch fur. We have the werewolf fur, we have the orangutan fur, and we have the grizzly fur, which is all custom blended, colored, and dyed according to your order and purpose.
So next time you're in the market for an orangutan, Adam is your man. Now let's return to the Lady in White. We're featuring Lady in White on Red's Classic Theater. Tonight's movie was very personal for director Frank LaLoggia. He based it on his childhood memories of growing up in New York with a family very much like the one shown in the movie. And even the scary cloakroom scene came from his childhood. The cloakroom in the movie is just like the one LaLoggia dreaded back in 4th grade. When I think about Lady in White, he said, I think about my fondest memories as a child and my most frightening nightmares. The town of Lyons, New York, where the film was shot, was so well suited to the story that it took only 1 day to make the changes, to transform it into the fictional Willow Point. And another great thing about the town, the people were actually excited about having the movie shot there, even if they had to put up with the odd inconvenience. Now let's return to Lady in White. We're visiting Behr Kinetic Arts in Richmond this week on Red's Classic Theater. Unlike most producers who look to a major studio to bankroll their project, Frank LaLoggia would have none of it. He didn't want the interference that comes with taking money from a studio. But this meant that he had to go and raise the $5 million budget for the film all on his own. So LaLoggia got a hold of his cousin, who's an investment analyst, and the cousin put together a network of stockbrokers, and they decided to sell shares in the film. But by the time production began on tonight's film, LaLoggia had only raised $700,000. But eventually, he managed to raise the entire $5 million by selling stock at 10 cents a share. And all through the piece, he never told the cast or crew that they were working on a day-to-day basis because it would have jeopardized the project. Now back to Lady in White. Lady in White is our feature movie this week on Red's Classic Theater. Making the transition from child to adult can be rough, especially when you do it on the big screen. But Lucas Haas seems to have done it easily. And at 23 years of age, he's worked with some of Hollywood's biggest names. In his 1983 film debut, he had to deal with nothing less than nuclear holocaust. And then Harrison Ford protected him from the bad guys in Witness. and he played a young boy dying of AIDS in the Ryan White story. In the decade since, he's worked with Jessica Lange, Jason Robards, Robert Duvall, Woody Allen, and Jack Nicholson. And Lucas will co-star with Bruce Willis in the forthcoming Breakfast of Champions due out this spring. Now back to Lady in White. From Adam Behr Kinetic Arts in Richmond, time for our weekly movie trivia quiz. 7 years ago, Lucas Haas worked with another Hollywood big name, Steve Martin, in a film about a traveling evangelist. Can you give me the title of that 1992 film? We'll be back with the answer in just a moment. Here's the answer to our movie trivia quiz. In 1992, Lucas Haas worked with Steve Martin in a film about a traveling evangelist. It was called Leap of Faith. And now, let's get back to Lady in White. Next Sunday night on Red's Classic Theater, Jack Lemmon is unemployed and Anne Bancroft helps him cope with the changes in the Neil Simon comedy, Prisoner of Second Avenue. That's our movie next week on Red's Classic Theater. And that's all the time we have for this week's show. Hope you enjoyed Lady in White. And we'd like to thank Adam Behr and his staff for showing around the shop and all the movie magic. Now, next time when you're watching a TV show or a movie and you see things that are maybe hard to believe, have a look at the credits. Maybe it came from Adam Behr. I'll see you tomorrow morning on 650 CI with the Wake Up Club, and next week here on Red's Classic Theater. From Richmond, thanks for being with us, and good night, everybody. Lady in White on Red's Classic Theater will continue. Red's Classic Theater from Adam Behr Kinetic Arts will continue. Red's Classic Theater from Adam Behr Kinetic Arts will continue. We'll put our best face forward this week on Red's Classic Theater. Creature creator Adam Behr makes visual effects props, puppets, and animatronic models for the movies, and we'll explore his Richmond studio. Our movie this week is the 1988 chiller Lady in White. We'll tell you how the director raised the money to make his film and review the career of young Lucas Haas. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Sunday night at 9 on TV 12.
We'll put our best face forward this week on Red's Classic Theater. Creature creator Adam Behr makes visual effects props, puppets, and animatronic models for the movies, and we'll explore his Richmond studio. Our movie this week is the 1988 chiller Lady in White. We'll tell you how the director raised the money to make his film and review the career of young Lucas Haas. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Tonight at 9 on TV 12.
This week on Red's Classic Theater, a young boy tries to solve a decade-old murder in Lady in White. Sunday night at 9, here on TV 12. Tonight on Red's Classic Theater, a young boy tries to solve a decade-old murder in Lady in White. Tonight at 9, here on TV 12. Lady in White on Red's Classic Theater, Sunday night at 9. Lady in White on Red's Classic Theater, tonight at 9.